Is This It? The first studio album by American rock band The Strokes. Written at the turn of the millennium, it captures youthful life in New York City, containing some instantly recognisable songs such as Last Night and Someday. I know this album inside out by this point, so I thought I'd do a tier list ranking all of the songs in both the American and international versions. So let's give this a go. By the way, my name's Johnny and I make music themed content both on YouTube and on TikTok. So if that's something that you think you'd be interested in, then how about you subscribe? And drop a like on this video if you like The Strokes so that I know to make more videos about them. Okay, I think this is in alphabetical order, so we'll start at the beginning of the alphabet with the letter A, Alone Together. It took me a while to get into, I'll be honest. I think the bridge sections were just a bit too abrasive for my liking at first. I've got much more of an appreciation for it now. I think the bass part is super interesting, and the verses and the choruses aren't exactly quick and fast paced, but they've got such a movement to them, you know? So I'm going to put it in A tier. I'm not going to call it legendary, but I think it's a great song. Barely Legal. I don't really like the title of this, and what it insinuates. That's a bit weird. Is this written by Julian Casablancas or R. Kelly here? But I still think it's a cool song. It's personally not one of my favourites, however. It's very typical of rock of this era, kind of. You got the straight drum beat, you've got the straight kind of bass line. It's a cool song. I don't dislike it. I just don't think it's one of the better ones. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think it's worth mentioning as well, no song on this album I think is bad. I think they're all good or better. So in reality, D tier, on this specific tier list, is probably still really good. I'm just doing it in comparison to the rest of the songs. Hard to Explain is one of my favourite Strokes songs, just full stop. There's a fantastic YouTube video that I'll link in the description, or I'll put on screen here, where this guy goes through the instrumentation of Hard to Explain, how the chords and the chord movements are almost like that of an orchestra. How the melody and the bass and the rhythm guitar all work together to create this really full emotive sound. I watched that video and I appreciate the song so much more now. I encourage you to watch it. I just love how it mixes a really catchy chorus with a really emotive vocal line in the verses. Was an honest man. It's got to be an S tier song. I think this easily beats the majority of songs in this album. Next up, Is This It? It is the first track, it is the title track, but I think for all the same reasons, I think it's a fantastic song. It's got like this mellow reflectance to it. It really captures the core emotions behind this album, and it does it the best, I'd say. Even just the opening line, can't you see I'm trying? I don't even like it. I just lied to get to your apartment. It is just the absolute physical embodiment, the auditory embodiment of youthful life in the city. While also not being big, chaotic and hectic, it's this anthem of figuring yourself and the world out, and I do quite love it. I think this is another S tier song. I feel like I'm rating everything too highly, but we've had some good ones to begin with. Last Night, the most popular track from this album, and the one that people who aren't really into the Strokes are most likely to know. It's a very easy song to listen to. No part of it is particularly complicated. I mean, hell, the main guitar riff is just a C octave. But it's a catchy song, you can't deny that, and the guitar solo is pretty sick as well. And it may be popular, but I don't think it's them at their best. I think the guitar work can become a lot more moving and emotive on other tracks, and I think Julian's written catchier things in his time. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in C tier. That doesn't mean it's bad, I'm just saying in comparison to the rest of the album, it's still a fantastic song, but in comparison to the other tracks here, I'd say it's C tier. New York City Cops. Now this is one that was left off the American version, as the American version of the album was due to be released shortly after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. So this song, which makes fun of New York City Cops for not being that smart, was unsurprisingly left off the album and replaced with When It Started. It's a cool song, it just feels a bit messy, it feels a bit much, it feels like it's been dialed to 11, but not in a powerful way, kind of just in like a hasty way. But I do think it's got some of the catchiest vocal lines on the album. I'm going to put it in C tier as well, actually, strangely enough. Soma. It took me about a year to actually understand what the hell this song was on about. From what I understand, it's a reference to a novel that I don't know about, which I'm not familiar with. I think Soma is a reference to that novel, and so a lot of the lines and the comments in this song. I think instrumentally though, it's one of my favourite songs. I don't care too much for the verses vocal lines and the chorus vocal lines, but I think instrumentally it's some of the best Strokes work here, so I'm going to say A tier as well. Someday is a class song. To me, it feels so out of place on this album. It feels so bright and bubbly and summery, and it feels so out of place. And even though that may be the case, I still think it's such a cool song. I'm gonna have to go S tier again. The Modern Age. I used to adore this song, but I think that was just because I knew it quite well. I think it's a cool song. I think the chorus is really good. My only issue is it doesn't really have as much of a high point as I'd want it to. Leaving just in time, stayed here for a while. It just feels a little flat and a bit dull sometimes. So I'm going to go B tier. Take it or leave it. It's one of the more energetic takes on the album. I think it's just a bit too shouty for my liking. I think it could be one of the best songs on the album with that really cool guitar riff. Da 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 da. But it just goes too far into itself, I think. So I'm going to put that in C tier as well. Trying Your Luck gives me a similar energy, but it does it better. So that's going in, I'd say B tier. I just love the guitar part in the chorus. And I lost my page again. Da-da-da-do. I know. Da-da-da-da. I think it's so cool. I do really like it. And finally, When It Started, the song that's not available on the international version, and as such, I don't know as well. But this is a sick song. It is such a cool song. Obviously, it was a B-side that was added because New York City Cops had to be taken off the American version. And it does feel rushed. It feels unpolished. It feels incomplete. I feel like a lot of extra steps could have been taken in the tones and the mixing and just stuff like that. But the vocal melody is one of the most infectious on this album, and the bass is so weird. It's so strange, but it's like its own melody. It's like its own standalone lead part, but it's a bass. But there's also other lead parts going on as well. I think it's the Strokes that they're most cohesive when everyone's working together to create such an intricate, intertwined song, and I think it pays off so much. I think that's got to be A tier. The only reason it's not S is because it just feels a bit rushed and a bit rough around the edges, but that is also because it was a B-side. So what do you guys think? How would you rank the songs from Is This It? Do you agree with what I've said? And if not, tell me why not. What do you think the best songs on this album are? You can clearly see what mine are, but I'd be happy to hear if you disagree. If you like this video, give it a like and let me know in the comments if you want to see more Strokes videos. And subscribe if you like general music-based content. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!